began to sob, with loud, dry sobs that seemed to come from the very racking of his heart. Then he raised his arms again, as though appealing to the whole universe. "God! God! God!" he said. "What have we done, what has this poor thing done, that we are so sore beset? Is there fate amongst us still, sent down from the pagan world of old, that such things must be, and in such way? This poor mother, all unknowing, and all for the best as she think, does such thing as lose her daughter body and soul, and we must not tell her, we must not even warn her, or she die, and then both die. Oh, how we are beset! How are all the powers of the devils against us?" Suddenly he jumped to his feet. "Come," he said, "come, we must see and act. Devils or no devils, or all the devils at once, it matters not, we fight him all the same." He went to the hall door for his bag, and together we went up to Lucy's room. Once again I drew up the blind, whilst Van Helsing went towards the bed. This time he did not start as he looked on the poor face with the same awful, waxen pallor as before. He wore a look of stern sadness and infinite pity. "As I expected," he murmured, with that hissing inspiration of his which meant so much. Without a word he went and locked the door, and then began to set out on the little table the instruments for yet another operation of transfusion of blood. I had long ago recognized the necessity, and begun to take off my coat, but he stopped me with a warning hand. "No," he said. "Today you must operate. I shall provide. You are weakened already." As he spoke he took off his coat and rolled up his shirt sleeve. Again the operation, again the narcotic, again some return of color to the ashy cheeks, and the regular breathing of healthy sleep. This time I watched whilst Van Helsing recruited himself and rested. Presently he took an opportunity of telling Mrs. Westenra that she must not remove anything from Lucy's room without consulting him, that the flowers were of medicinal value, and that the breathing of their odor was a part of the system of cure. Then he took over the care of the case himself, saying that he would watch this night and the next and would send me word when to come. After another hour Lucy waked from her sleep, fresh and bright and seemingly not much the worse for her terrible ordeal. What does it all mean? I am beginning to wonder if my long habit of life amongst the insane is beginning to tell upon my own brain. Lucy Westenra's Diary. September 17th. For days and nights of peace. I am getting so strong again that I hardly know myself. It is as if I had passed through some long nightmare, and had just awakened to see the beautiful sunshine and feel the fresh air of the morning around me. I have a dim half-remembrance of long, anxious times of waiting and fearing, darkness in which there was not even the pain of hope to make present distress more poignant, and then long spells of oblivion, and the rising back to life as a diver coming up through a great press of water. Since, however, Dr. Van Helsing has been with me, all this bad dreaming seems to have passed away. The noises that used to frighten me out of my wits, the flapping against the windows, the distant voices which seemed so close to me, the harsh sounds that came from I know not where and commanded me to do I know not what, have all ceased. I go to bed now without any fear of sleep. I do not even try to keep awake. I have grown quite fond of the garlic, and a boxful arrives for me every day from Haarlem. Tonight Dr. Van Helsing is going away, as he has to be for a day in Amsterdam. But I need not be watched, I am well enough to be left alone. Thank God for Mother's sake, and dear Arthur's, and for all our friends who have been so kind. I shall not even feel the change, for last night Dr. Van Helsing slept in his chair a lot of the time. I found him asleep twice when I awoke, but I did not fear to go to sleep again, although the bows or bats or something napped almost angrily against the window panes. The Pall Mall Gazette, September 18. The Escaped Wolf. Perilous adventure of our interviewer. Interview with the keeper in the Zoological Gardens. After many inquiries and almost as many refusals, and perpetually using the words, Pall Mall Gazette, as a sort of talisman, I managed to find the keeper of the section of the Zoological Gardens in which the wolf department is included. Thomas Builder lives in one of the cottages in the enclosure behind the elephant house, and was just sitting down to his tea when I found him. Thomas and his wife are hospitable folk, elderly, and without children, and if the specimen I enjoyed of their hospitality be of the average kind, their lives must be pretty comfortable. The keeper would not enter on what he called business until the supper was over, and we were all satisfied. Then when the table was cleared, and he had lit his pipe, he said, "Now, sir, you can go on and arsk me what you want. You'll excuse me refusin' to talk of professional subjects afore meals. I gives the wolves and the jackals and the hyenas in all our section their tea afore I begins to arsk them questions." "How do you mean, ask them questions?" I queried, wishful to get him into a talkative humor. "Id'n of them over the EAD with a pole is one way, scratchin' of their hears is another, when gents as is flush wants a bit of a show-orf to their gals. I don't so much mind the fuss the id'n with a pole afore I chucks in their dinner, but I waits till they've 'ad their sherry and coffee, so to speak, afore I tries on with the ear-scratchin'. Mind you," he added philosophically, "there's a deal of the same nature in us as in them thur animals. Here's you a comin' and arskin' of me questions about my business, and I that grumpy like that only for your bloomin' arfquid I'd seen you blowed fust for I'd answer. Not even when you arsked me sarcastic like if I'd like you to arsk the superintendent if you might arsk me questions. Without offense did I tell yer to go to hell? You did. And when you said you'd report me for usin' of obscene language that was id'n me over the EAD, but the arfquid made that all right. I weren't goin' to fight, so I waited for the food, and did with my owl as the wolves, and lions, and tigers does. But, lor love your art, now that the old woman has stuck a chunk of her tea cake in me, and rinsed me out with her bloomin' old teapot, and I've lit hup, you may scratch my ears for all you're worth, and won't get even a growl out of me. Drive along with your questions. I know what you're comin' at, that escaped wolf. Exactly. I want you to give me your view of it. Just tell me how it happened, and when I know the facts I'll get you to say what you consider was the cause of it, and how you think the whole affair will end. All right, Governor. This is about the 'ole story. That wolf what we called Berserker was one of 3 grey ones that came from Norway to Jamraka's, which we bought off him 4 years ago. He was a nice well-behaved wolf, that never gave no trouble to talk of. I'm more surprised at 'im for wantin' to get out nor any other animal in the place. But, there, you can't trust wolves no more nor women. Don't you mind him, sir, broke in Mrs. Tom, with a cheery laugh. 'E's got mind in the animals so long that blessed if he ain't like a old wolf hisself. But there ain't no 'arm in 'im. Well, sir, it was about 2 hours after feed-in, yesterday when I first hear my disturbance. I was makin' up a litter in the monkey house for a young puma which is ill, but when I heard the yelpeen and owlin' I kem away straight. There was Berserker a tearin' like a mad thing at the bars as if he wanted to get out. There wasn't much people about that day, and close.